Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is the Clásica Jaén. This is a one-day race, first edition in the south of Spain with gravel roads. All the uphill sections on today's course, 190 kilometers total. All of the uphill sections are basically gravel, compact, I should say loosely compact gravel roads. Now we got some pro teams in today's race. Movistar's here, EF Education, Astana, Bora Hansgrohe, Archaic Samsic, and then we got a bunch of Division 3 pro teams. So it's a new race, first edition, so they're trying to build some momentum here so that they can compete with all the European races up north in Italy, Strade Bianche, and of course Paris-Roubaix, those classic one-day edition races that just have so much to offer when they get off the pavement and start really seeing some action, whether if it's on cobblestones or white sands, or today, of course, the compact, loosely compact gravel roads in the south of Spain. Now with 50 kilometers to go is when the camera comes on and the race is blown up to pieces, which is a pity for us watching from the couch because there must have been some massive excitement watching from the beginning of the stage and just watching the peloton blow up into pieces on a course like today's race. When we get into the action, 50K, I said it's Archaic Samsic trying to hold things back together. 45 kilometers to go. It's Alexey Lucenko, the Astana rider, who's absolutely putting on a display of dominance on today's race here at Jaén. That's why I put on the Astana t-shirt and brought my old Astana jersey up here, because I was part of the team way back in the day. Now, I want to point something out right at this moment from 45 kilometers to go. For you fans sitting at home on the couch who do the group rides all the time, I want to put in perspective here to what Alexey Lucenko is doing at this moment from 45 kilometers out. How many times have you been on a Gran Fondo or a group ride or just your weekend ride and everybody's throwing down and you got that one local national hero from your city that always just destroys the whole field? You come back home, you tell your significant other, wow, so-and-so, John was just amazing today. We couldn't catch him. We were chasing him for like 2 kilometers. Well, now imagine that and increase that from 45 kilometers, and then imagine that everybody chasing Alexey Lucenko at this moment is one of the best riders in the world back there, all riding for Pro Tour teams and all trying to bring back just one rider riding solo up the road. Now, Alexey Lucenko, as soon as he takes off, he drops Tim Wellens from Lotto, who tried to follow him but did not have the legs to keep up with the Astana rider. Alexey Lucenko is flying. Tim Wellens gets in a group behind, and he's trying to salvage today's race here in Jaén. Now with 33 kilometers to go after a long section of paved highway road basically, Alexey Lucenko is caught from Leonard Kamna and Connor Swift. Shortly after that, it'll be Tim Wellens who will bridge up, leave his 2 breakaway companions, Loic Vliegen from Intermarché Wanty and Thibaut Frézy from KTM Hotels. Now, those 2 riders are probably the wiser of the riders when you compare him to Tim Wellens, because Tim Wellens will bridge up there. He gets up there to Alexey Lucenko's group just as Alexey Lucenko's had enough of these guys and decides to go solo again and starts accelerating away from the group. There's nothing anybody can do about it. The wisest thing these 3 riders did, Leonard Kamna, Connor Swift, and Tim Wellens, was to ease up, and they let Loic Vliegen get back on along with Thibaut Frézy. Now, Thibaut Frézy's having a hard time. He did a great job of bridging back up, but he will come back off as they cross the finish line. They still have one more lap to go. Just before crossing the finish line, Alexey Lucenko had some bike problems. We see him reaching down, trying to fix his bike, and all the mechanic motorcycles and cars trying to get behind him, thinking he's going to stop at any minute. He doesn't. He stays on the pedals, passes the finish line with one more lap to go. Now, Loic Vliegen, the Intermarché Wanty rider, he'll have his own problems after crossing the finish line. He's got his hand up in the air. Clearly, his chain got wrapped up in his derailleur. Can't get his bike going again. Luckily for him, the gap between all of the groups now has finally gotten big enough where the Intermarché team had gotten up there and switched bikes, and Loic Vliegen is back with a group of 3 trying to chase Alexey Lucenko, but Lucenko is on fire. This time going down the wide boulevard road before we start the final climb going up the gravel road. There's nothing the 4 chasers can do to bring back Alexey Lucenko. With 12 kilometers to go and a left U-turn, Alexey Lucenko starts the gravel section for the last time. Now, I want to say something as a professional rider. When you're solo at this moment, it's beautiful. Throughout the whole 45, from 45 kilometers to go all the way until 12 kilometers to go, Alexey Lucenko knows there's always something that can happen. Your form might disappear. You might have a bike problem. You might get tactically attacked by multiple riders behind. Maybe there was somebody really good back there that you didn't see. You get caught and they take off and drop you the last time up the climb. By this time, when he's making the U-turn back onto the gravel road with 12 kilometers to go, I'm here to tell you, this boy's relaxed. I mean, at this point in time, you know, I'm going to win. That's all that's going through your head. Every time I was in a bike race and you knew you had just blown the field apart, your 12 kilometers to go, and you had already seen what the best had to offer you in the back, and now you're going to go uphill on a gravel road, there's enough gap between all of the groups that you have your car behind you now. There's nothing a mechanical can cause you that you couldn't just change bikes. So at that point in time, for me personally, when I'm making that U-turn, I'm relaxed. I know I got this in the bag, and I'm just thinking about how fantastic this is to win my first day racing of the 2022 season. Alexey Lucenko, this is a fabulous moment. He knows he's got it wrapped up. He's just got to stay on the pedals, make sure you don't cramp too bad, and pedal steady all the way up to the top. Now, with 1.5 kilometers to go, when he's crossing the bridge, we see he almost falls over because it's so bumpy and thick with gravel there that he slips out of the pedal, comes to a stop, gets back on his bike, powers up the gravel section onto the cobblestone road with one big paperboy switchback up the cobblestones to make it over the steepest section before the finish. He powers all the way up to the finish line to take a fantastic opening day season race for him here in 2022 at Jaén. Now behind the group of 4, they stayed all together. I told you the experience of what I thought Alexey Lucenko was thinking at 12 kilometers to go. Now let me tell you what I think the group of 4 is thinking as they're making that U-turn and they start the gravel road and it starts climbing. All 4 of these guys have had difficult moments up the gravel climb. Tim Wellens had been dropped multiple times from Alexey Lucenko and other riders. Loic Vliegen, the Intermarché rider, he's had his own problems going up this hill. And of course, Leonard Kemna hasn't been that spectacular when you're talking about trying to outright be the best of this group of 4. Connor Swift, remember, strong, powerful rider, but he's not a climber. So all 4 of these guys are having moments in their head where I'm sure they're thinking, okay, we know we can't win because Alexey Lucenko is gone. He's on fabulous form. We just don't want to get caught from the group behind. And if possible, let's get a podium out of here so we get a good result still. So all 4 of these riders will stay together most of the way up this gravel climb until about 1 kilometer to go. And then it's Loic Vliegen, the Intermarché rider, who puts in attack. That only guy can follow him is the Lotto rider, Tim Wellens. Those 2 will go up the road, get off the gravel stone section, and then Tim Wellens will throw in a hard attack on Loic. Loic looks back, and once you know, I've said it many times here on the butterfly effect, when a rider's attacking you going uphill right before the finish line, that rider who's getting attacked, if he's not looking forward trying to close that gap and you see him turn around and look back like this, you know the first thing that's popping through his head is, I hope no one's behind me because I still want to get third. Loic Verliegen did a great job. The gap was already there. He held on for a podium, third at today's race. Tim Wellens, who attacked Loic, held him off all the way to the line for second. Behind, rounding out the top 5 of entertainers on today's Jaén race will be Leonard Kamna fourth. Connor Swift from Archaic Samsic, who did a ton of work with that team throughout today's race, will get fifth out of that group. First one across the line for sixth out of the chasing group behind is going to be Bora Hansgrohe. Jai Hindley, who will win the sprint amongst the guys chasing back there for scraps in today's Clásica Jaén. Alexey Lucenko from Astana's form today was absolutely monstrous display of power on the pedals today. He dominated the course from 45 kilometers all the way to the finish of today's race and really put on a display to take Astana's first race of the 2022 season. Now, I got some disputes about the tactics of going from so far out, talking 45 kilometers out, when I believe he easily could have held up, kept Tim Wellens with him, if not a couple other riders, had a little bit of help for a longer period in time throughout today's race. But for pure panache, for getting as much training out of today's early season race before we get into the big classic starting here in a few weeks, Alexey Lucenko was phenomenal on his display of power and monstrous, just pedaling all day long for 45 kilometers to the finish of today's race. Congratulations, Alexey Lucenko from Astana. Enjoy your first race of the season with a victory. Like and subscribe, guys, and I'll see you real soon on the next edition of the Butterfly Effect.